All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Community HOPEcast. Today, we're bringing you a new segment because it is rare that we have a table of 4 people here. So, our new segment, because we have different generations of staff members in the office, and we like to pick fights with each other, is that we're going to do a little generational debate. And today's topic, broadly speaking, is defining the relationship. So this episode topic first came about to debate about because we once sat down with Tree and we were talking about how one of our similar age coworkers, she was talking about how she was in a romantic relationship with a predetermined end date.
Predetermined end date.
Yeah.
So she previously dated this.
No, predetermined, like they're gonna break up on this day.
They're gonna break up. Yeah.
2 years later or something like that.
Yeah. And Tree was a little shocked, and they got into this whole discussion about, you know, what relationship expectations and definitions there are that he observed as he, you know, grew up among his peers, and you know, a little too spicy for my taste, but. That's what we're here to talk about today. And maybe, I don't know, I feel like some of us might have some hot takes on it, but...
to each their own.
Okay, yeah. And we are joined by your host, me, Jane, or moderator, I don't know.
Oh, Annie.
Hong.
And I'm Tree, the one that asked the question. Jane, that's why we're here.
Yeah. What is the generation here?
Gen Z.
Versus...
Millennials?
Millennials.
Millennials, yeah.
All right. Starting off, the question then, it will be focusing on romantic relationships.
Sure.
So, what do you define as an acceptable relationship?
Romantic.
An acceptable romantic relationship.
Romantic relationship. Yeah. I mean, I am also the adage to each their own. However, asterisk, I believe that all parties should be on the same page. Parties can be plural, 2 or more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you hit.
I'm not going to ick their yum.
You hit the point where it says everyone has to be on the same page, right? There's no behind the back kind of thing, or there's no
infidelity, gaslighting, manipulation.
Yes. Correct. Yeah.
However, are there ones within that pool that you would say are still a no-go? Like,
what's your no-go?
I know. Are you guys for premarital cohabitation?
For sure, infidelity is a no-go, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Premarital
cohabitation.
You live together before marriage.
I think that's pretty normal now.
Yeah.
To me, that's acceptable. I don't think that's a big no red flag on that. But infidelity is definitely a no, right? That's where it should be the line.
I have a question.
Sure.
You said I think that's normal now. So back then, what was it like? Your thoughts?
Back then, I think back then for me, when I say now, it's been like when I started, having romantic relationship, and it was okay. It wasn't something like we have to be super secretive or like frowned upon a lot.
Okay.
Right? Maybe it was just the individual that I dated, but it wasn't something like frowned upon. Maybe it would be different in a different country, but here in the U.S.
Home is really stewing over.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to gather my thoughts on what's acceptable and what's unacceptable.
We're running through some of them.
I think there's just so many things going on in my head, but I think for each of us, the definition of acceptable in relationship or even unacceptable might be a little different to different extremes as well. But just thinking back about, the question you had earlier about premarital, like living together and all that stuff. I think during cultural difference is another thing too. But in my generation, during the time that we were dating and stuff like that, this is like high school, college, 20 years ago that I'm talking about. I think in the Asian culture, it's pretty unacceptable to live together before you get married or even have sex before marriage. It was just something always frowned upon. For good reasons. I think it just, making sure that you are with the person that you I guess to be with forever. So that whole trial thing is just kind of like not really considered, I guess, acceptable, because it'll be I think for to some older people, when you trial living together, it's like, okay, if I don't like it, next, right? So it's not really, living together is such a mature decision. It's not something you can try, because sometimes when you make a mature decision, you really don't try. You got to think really hard, and you got to really think about consequences, really think about what comes with it to make that decision. And I think for our older generation, it's more like, okay, do you know this person enough? Are you ready for that? And marriage is what gonna give you the for sure answer, or to kind of like, okay, we're married, so we're gonna move on to this next step, or doing all this stuff together. So that is
like open to experimentation or dating to learn? Because there's a suggestion in that previous answer about like, oh, you need to be sure and know what you're getting into before you do A, B, and C. You down for experimenting?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like experimenting is, I guess, to the individual, because when I'm more of a person that more a reasonable, like a thinking deep kind of person. So when it comes to relationship, I feel like I really not the type
you don't need the experience
that would want to experience, because I feel like I need to make all these logical, reasoning behind before I'm deciding to take that next serious step. So that's me, but I'm pretty sure like other people might not be that way.
To each their own.
You gotta have a different take.
Me? I don't know. I only did one guy. We locked in.
Oh, okay. And that was...
It worked out. Luckily, it worked out. Yeah, but like I think before, when I was like, in like talking stages and stuff, like I think I was very open to experimenting with other people, only because like, okay, I live by my own standards, but then I can't expect someone to live by my own standards. So like we're gonna have to like communicate, collaborate with that. Oh my gosh, it's like a work, like communicate, collaborate, and then just I just want to like meet new people to see different perspectives and see which one like luckily like clicks with me. Luckily, I was able to get it one try, pew. But I don't know. It just depends on other people. Like if this one didn't work, then I would go out and meet new people and just be like. How you come here often?
There's something to say about you can talk to somebody as much as you want, but it's the actual experience of being in certain scenarios of, perhaps not even as far as living together, but, behaving in a romantic capacity together that might bring out certain qualities that you would have never previously discussed or known about the other person. Maybe they don't even know about it themselves. Maybe they're a horrible person. I don't know.
There are things that they are oblivious about themselves that comes out. Not necessarily have to live together, but as little as travel together for like a week. That things come out like quick, right? And we've known a couple who like after 10 years of relationship travel somewhere far and then broke up, just because like, hey, reality hit. Right? You're supposed to live with this person for their 24/7, and this is how like they deal with their hygiene. This is how they how messy they are, things like that, right?
Group made it out of trip made it out of chat, but chat didn't make it out of the trip.
Exactly. Yep.
I think like now I'm trying to think about like experimenting and like live together like before marriage, all this stuff. But I think part of, for me, the way that relationship, or let's say like why we need to save all of that until after marriage, is that when you are at a commitment phase where it's like you committed to this person, therefore you're gonna accept all the flaws, everything about this person, and you're gonna grow together and make changes, do all of that together. So when you are committed by marriage, whatever come after, you just need to work it out. You have to accept. You have to try to make it work, because you've already married, right? But if you do all of this before marriage, there's nothing to bind you. There's nothing to even encourage you to have that effort to try to accept this person. So if you're experiencing it before marriage, there'll be, I think, higher chances of you not going to be able to go through this with this person. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's conflicting. In a way, it's commitment to this one person. If you really know you love this person, so you're going to continue to accept them, to make changes, to make things work through marriage. Or knowing all of this before marriage and say, okay, it's not working out, so let's not do that. Let's not marry to save for like an actual real person. So it's
conflicting.
It's conflicting even for me. I'm like, I would like to do it after marriage. I mean, I'm a traditional girl, and now that I have kids also, I have girls also, I would like my kid to not experimenting anything before, like seriously before marriage, but at the same time, to ensure it's hard after you get married and you finding out all these things about this person and having to work it out. But at the same time, it's what bind you together. It's what keep this marriage work. So
views on marriage. What is marriage?
I mean, only they can answer.
Currently, marriage to me, man-made institution,
Same.
social constructs.
Same. Legally binding house what taxes, but once you divorce, getting rid of all that hard.
Yeah, that's the. I agree with you guys on that too, but that's on the non-religious aspect of it. But for the religious aspect, there's a bond between, without going too much into religion, it's a bond between for God, for the man and the woman. But yeah, I agree. It's a man-made institution, right?
Because some people will not get married, but just be committed together
Partnership.
with like children, everything.
Partnership.
Partnership.
But when there's nothing legally binding you together, either in court or in church, it's just that freedom break out at any time, right? Even though, yes, you're in a committed relationship, raising children together, partnership, all of that, same as a couple who go through all of that, plus all the paperwork. But I think it just, for me, the official legality, the legal part of it, the church binding part of it, it kind of like stop you from taking that further step of leaving or divorcing because of all these things that's physically binding you together. It's just an extra security.
It's like a detergent, almost like a detergent.
Kind of like the extra glue that is gluing you together, because everything else is in your mind, everything else is in your action, but it's not nothing physically holding you. So you can easily fall off. You can easily like take it out away from you and throw it. But I guess that extra thing is what make you try to not having to go through the process of ripping things apart. And in a way, it kind of like sometimes it can help you really calm down and going through, why we're together, why we need to make things work together, instead of that, nothing binding us, that's fine, I can leave tomorrow. For me.
I know some people who are just not married and
I know.
their life, so.
And I mean, I try.
Each their own.
I try to be. I always encourage people to get married. I'm a wedding planner, like
It's
biased.
It's her livelihood, y'all.
but I just love that commitment that you show in front of everybody. And like I did so many weddings. I still cry at every wedding when they say the vows to each other in front of friends and family and everybody. It's just that moment that it just make things elevate your relationship to that so many level. And I think now for me, after 13 years of being married and like 24 years of being together, whenever we have a really bad fight, or whenever I even have thoughts of like not being together with this person anymore. But then when I think about what we say to each other at church or in front of our friends and family on the wedding day, I say, why did I do that? You know, what are the reasons why I say that in front of hundreds of people? And then it kind of like, okay, let's not really think about leaving and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, one part of me is all for like, ooh, freedom, ooh, do what you want to do. But in this economy, I do love tax benefits.
That's
So-
true.
There you go. There you go.
So, yeah, valid.
I love health insurance.
Yes. And tax credits when you're married and like
kids.
kids, all these stuff. It's just,
Each kid is a tax credit.
Okay, so that was the whole like, ooh, what if no marriage? But what do you think of divorce?
That's one topic that I really want to dive deep down into, maybe on another episode, because I've seen, I don't know if you do, Hong, but like I've seen friends and family our age, right? Happy one year and the next year just boom, right? So many family, friends. And I always question like what lead up to that, right? It has to be something like deep down under for a long time. It can't be just someone just like 1 year, Things can happen in 365 days. It has to be longer than that. So I want to understand like what happened. But like to me, divorce is like Hong said, it's so common now that people use the D word like frequently, right?
Yeah.
I say the D word because like it's frowned upon.
Dinosaur.
Yeah. But like everything, hey, let's just get a divorce. Every fight, let's just get a divorce. Or even the thought of that, right? We've been married 9 years. Hong been married 13 years. Have we have thoughts of that? Absolutely. Like I'll be lying to the rest of you, but I say we don't. But sometimes when we just think about it, like Hong said, calm down and think of why we got married in the first place, right? Minus the kids, minus the stress, minus the mortgage that we're stressing over. Maybe that leads up to the fight. At the very core of it, why did we get married? And that kind of helped. So yeah.
there are acceptable divorce and unacceptable divorce. I think there's I agree that there are sometimes necessary to divorce that one
Absolutely.
person if they're
Absolutely.
toxic, if they're harming you, if there are reasons that is really tearing you apart as an individual, then you should leave the relationship. And like legally divorcing somebody can actually benefit you as a person. But there are divorces that is just an escape, or just like a way for you to run away from facing on the relationship or from working things out when it seems so difficult. Say, okay, let's just divorce and end it there. So those are the ones that I feel like that is not acceptable because like why do you marry this person? Especially when you have kids together, you have responsibility
that's the
to
worst.
another human being on earth. So it's if it's something that you can work it out, if it's something that you can change yourself to make things better for somebody else, why wouldn't you? Like, and of course in a marriage it takes two person to make things work.
I think it's complicated when you have kids, though, because I think it's complicated when you have kids, though, because at a certain point, it's no longer just two people. It's the divorce doesn't just concern two people.
Right.
It concerns like the children as well. But then it's not black and white, obviously.
Right.
But I especially side eye to anyone who probably should be getting a divorce but will not for the kids.
I've seen that. I see that a lot.
common.
Like they're together for the kids. So until the kids reach certain age.
Like the behavior that you exhibit.
Yeah. So it can be a good because you then have this time that you might be able to work through things when you're still trying to be together for the kids.
But if it's not,
But if it's
you're
not,
not working on it,
yeah.
you're just harming the kid.
Yes, I agree to that.
Yeah.
If you just like setting really bad example for your kids for their future relationship. So
That and like I believe energy is everything, right? The kid, believe it or not, they will feel the energy of the parents, and most of the time they will blame themselves for, the. It's funny. Sometimes kids just blame themselves for the reason why the parents are his or her parents are divorced, and just you can imagine the resentment from the parents that translates to the kids at the dinner table, pretending to be happy, just for the kids. Yeah, it's the kids who's gonna absorb all that negative energy for sure.
Annie has been very
segue into family definition of family.
Nah, I just be quiet because I just be listening, like
Define family for us then, perhaps, as a
to each their
starting-
own. No, because like I feel like you can have blood family, but also like sometimes blood family doesn't work because then there's just some people that you don't match up with. So like I'm a good stickler for found families. I love reading stories about found families.
I love a found family.
I love a found family.
More popular, rising in popularity now in our generation, but
Can you explain that, like found family?
Yeah, it's like people, like, you meet people and then you just, hang out and build a connection with them. And then to you, they feel like what a family should be rather than like, for example, like hypothetically, I'm reading a story, right?
Okay.
I be reading stories. And, the main character, she's a girl and she has been consistently, under abuse by her parents. Remember, this is a ro fan. It's a romantic fantasy. So,
Okay.
this happens in real life too.
and
But
it does happen in real life. But I'm just saying, like, I'm into ro fans. Anyways, and then so like she goes on a journey. She escapes her family, right? Who typically like the word family is iffy for her. But then she's overcoming her trauma. Oops. And then as she goes on her journey to move into a new town, exploring her. Exploring life, what it means to be alive. Then she meets these adventurers.
Okay. Avengers, like
Adventurers.
Oh, adventurers.
Like mercenaries, but
Okay.
for monsters. And then she builds a family out of them. But to them, she's like 5-year-old, like 7-year-old boy because she's disguised because she's a girl traveling and they would probably kidnap her. There's a lot of layers to the story, but basically because she's going through all these struggles, it's hard for her to find people to trust, right? And now there's actually people that go out of their way to make sure that she's comfortable, and she thinks of them like, oh, these are people that I can now trust. Like, oh, they're what I wish my family could have been, and that in a sense is her found family. These adventurers.
So to you, like, is trust a one of the important foundation of a family?
Oh, well, for her, yeah.
For her?
And for me too, I
What about
guess.
you? Okay.
Yeah, trust, just like making sure it's like, oh, a safe space, like keeping it open, and just like looking out for each other. Well, but that is
Oh,
again,
look, yeah.
because it's a,
Rofa.
there's Rofan,
Rofan.
there's a ogres.
Rofa.
Yeah.
anyway, so
But yeah, like that's a family.
the point of founding found family is that, right? We grow up hearing a lot about, oh, your blood relatives are like, oh, they will be your ride or die, or they will be with you through thick and thin.
Yeah.
But I think the reality that many people have found is that just because you happen to be born with a small percentage of the same DNA, it doesn't mean much.
right.
Yeah. And so the concept of found family, that the people in your life, like, or maybe even, older adults who are not necessarily blood related to you, but are much more of like your mentor or like guide through life than maybe your older adults you're blood related to, or just people similar in age to you who you find to be like almost like a sibling relationship to you when maybe you don't get along with your own siblings or never had any, like that. Yeah.
Is that like a two-way relationship?
Yes.
Do they have to feel the same way about you?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
This isn't just like good friendship. This isn't just like besties.
So like the condition, and I'm genuinely curious about that. Like, so are they also dislike their own blood family, or are they just
It can to each their own. It can vary.
okay?
Most of them, like when people say found family, typically it's like, oh, people that aren't, too close with their actual blood family, finding each other, or like they don't have a family and they're finding each other. But that's why they make their own new family, because they're not connected with the whatever ones that they're supposed to be, by social constructs connect to.
I think a family doesn't always have to be a mom, a dad, a sibling, like kind of like in that. I think nowadays it can be a found family. It could be a family of 2 moms to that, however it is. But I think what's really most important for you to consider somebody your family is that repeated or unconditional kind of trust, support, and also like forgiveness, like things that you can not just one time but repeatedly, consistently. So if you ever going through something at any time in your life experience, that you can go back to this family and they will be there to support you. They understand who you are. They forgive you for whatever fight that you might already have. So it's that consistent. I think that's the word. Because if you with with friends, sometimes you're a really good friend with this one person, and then your next phase of life you're gonna be good friend with somebody else. So it's that consistency is not there, and it's not family. Family is like forever. So if it's 20 years from now, even though you don't see this person, but you can come back and talk to them and still feel the same way, that's the consistency to make somebody your family. So to me, that's what's important.
Okay. How do you deal with your blood relatives that you...
We unfortunately have, I think, really good relationship with everybody in our family. I really don't have a bad experience with any blood relative that I can think of, so I can't really talk about.
I think the bigger the family is extended, or just your immediate family, the chances of the bad apple is higher, right? There's always a few bad apples in the family. That's inevitable. But one of the things I want to add on to Hong's foundation of being a good family is someone that can speak the truth to you if it needs to be, right? Like tell you what it is, how it is, right? And not just sugarcoat everything, just like as like a regular friend do. And I think that's something that I found recently with my extended family, my uncle, that helps me a lot. Ego aside, everything this person has been telling me, it's very helpful for me if I just listen. So I think that's one of the foundation that I want to add on to that, right? Dude, is there an app for that? Like
what?
Faux fam?
Bro fan?
No, faux found family.
An app to find a found family. I don't know.
Faux fam, the start.
Is this a new market?
The
Faux fam coming to. Is there?
No.
Okay.
No.
There should be one.
No, because then at best they'll probably operate like Hinge or something, and then you gotta experiment with like people to being your found family. It takes a couple months, dog.
Imagine being swiped left. On the faux fam.
I don't want to be family with you.
Okay, this has been pretty tame. Does anyone have any hot takes that they would like to share?
To each their own.
Shut up. I'm gonna put a box right here. You have to put $1 in every
time you say that. I agree.
But it's true. Like my experiences are not related to all your experiences.
Yeah, do you have any hot takes though?
Nah.
That's why we're having a debate.
I feel like instead of a debate, it's like a generational interview. I'd just be sitting here listening to y'all. like my one take was, I really like romantic fantasies.
Okay, there's one thing that I kind of noticed. I think one of the biggest difference in our generations, the Z and the millennials, is that marriage in general, but I've seen people in relationship, right? Like long-term relationship, but taking that next step to either doesn't have to be like a wedding, like a physical wedding, but that next step of commitment in your relationship, whether to get married, to have children, or to that next step, right? Delayed or ignored. Or like, let's not talk about it for now, even though they've been together like for the longest time. or even though when they come to an age where, you know, like, it's like, okay, when are you going to take this next step to your relationship? I've seen that a lot. So I don't know if it's something that the Gen Z is more about, like individualized, you know, like for living for your own, or I don't know what it is, but it just, I've seen repeatedly. I don't know, you guys can tell me.
Are marriage rates down? Marriage rates are down?
I feel like it's not just in Gen Z. I feel like it's also millennials as well. I think it's just like an ongoing problem of like how like marriage and commitment is like seen on social media, because but also like I think like my main thing is like if they're not taking the next step, like they're probably complacent and they just want to like seek comfortability. And I think like now when with like how the world is revolving, there's so many aspects that you have to be involved with, whether it be politics, environmental, family, your jobs, you know, your mental health, your workspace. You kind of just like you want to be complacent in something because you just want to be comfortable, and that's like something like whoever this, no matter what ages they're okay with, then they're just going to be complacent or not going to take the next step, which isn't wrong. Like I think to each their own. But it's just
Then
like
there would be no debate if to each their own.
to each your own. Yeah, but it's like, you know, I think that's like the main thing that I've been seeing. Like, oh, I don't think it's just per like an age range or something. Like I've been seeing it, like I'm chronically online, so I see it on like the like so many people talking about it, like, oh, okay, like now there's like a whole thing about shut up rings.
Oh, what?
What
A
is that?
shut up ring, because like you're in a long-term relationship, right? And then you want to take, like one person wants to take it to the next step, so like typically it's the woman that wants to take it to the next step, but then the man is like not willing because he's just settling down with her for now, and he's still trying to find someone new. And then you know, because he can't find someone new, then he gets her a shut up ring, and they get married. That's one of the things that I've been seeing. No matter like what age, right? So like there's a thing where it's like, okay, you both are not working out for each other, you're staying complacent, or like, you know, you're just complacent because like you're tired. So that's what I see.
Well, I wasn't expecting that one. I thought you were going to get into the you know, because there are so many aspects of life, as you were saying, that we need to be concerned about, and as life becomes more complicated, and you know, the range of young adulthood before you are truly independent has extended into 20s, late 20s, even for some people.
The 30s are the new 20s.
It's now become a variety of like economic factors and other things that have contributed to we are unable to lack capacity for the next step.
Yep.
What's the proportion of that?
I want to
'Cause
get a house.
you lean into complacency, but I'm thinking
That's what I
capacity
see.
issue.
Capacity, I also think that's a big thing too, because like people want to make it to the next step, but you don't want to live with your parents.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
want to get your own place, but like even in Orange County, like I feel like the cost of living is just too high.
Yeah.
To like even like marriage licenses aren't too expensive, right? But like even
Yeah.
like
But
you can have that, but then even just like hosting a wedding. to let
United
other people know.
States wedding market
Ask her.
is predatory.
It is increasing over the year. But you know, like when I decided to get married, I didn't have anything either. Like we didn't, I think it's over time, it's the same, it's almost the same experiences that we have too when we were at that age, when we wanted to take the next step, but we weren't ready for it. And you're never going to be ready for it, I think. It just, and this is our parents keep telling us, and at the time I always refused to listen, but now I'm saying the same thing repeatedly to my next generation, is it'll come together after you get married. Like,
Trey, do you agree to this?
just
I do.
It will. It just,
do.
you know, it's that commitment for each other, it's that support that you have, and you'll be able to do it together. Because on your own, it's harder when it's just you. When it's two of you, it's just easier. And that's totally true for me. I like, honestly, when we got married, I think together we have like $3,000 in our bank account together. And we both just barely started our full-time job, and people are talking about us getting married for our wedding was 600 people. The budget for the wedding was like $80,000-$70,000. I'm like, how the heck is that possible for us to have that wedding? I never believed that. But we did. I don't know how we did.
Can you figure out how and let us know?
Yeah, I have an
I think-
Excel sheet or
yeah.
something. I need Tree to put on his real estate uniform right now and look me in the eye and say, I can afford a house.
It's kind of, you cannot afford a house right now.
Exactly.
But in terms of getting married, I have to agree with Hong because we too didn't have anything, right? Lucky I have a a supportive family, and I just quit my job too. I didn't start my foot. I just quit my job, trying to do wedding photography full time, and it's just funny how things just fall into place.
Yeah.
Like
you, yeah, I agree to that. Things just fall into place.
I wish I can tell you guys how. I don't know. Things just fall into place.
It just fall into place.
Because we didn't get a house right away. We shared a room, right, for 3-4 years until we got our very first house, right? And even when we got our first house, there's no way I could afford the house without the help of many friends and family. I mean, just family members, right?
Yeah.
So things just fall apart. It just not fall
Fall in
apart.
place.
Fall in place.
Fall apart.
Personally,
I think
I can't trust or rely on other people like that.
Because
Yeah.
that's your hindsight.
That's family.
But
That's-
when that's true, you
That's
can't
true.
trust and rely on other people like that. But when the reunion of two of you and the reunion of the families, I feel like that is the push. Like what do you call it? Where you can put your foot on and push up. That's
Launch.
like that strong support that you have there. Because when
Jump.
you don't have that, you just have you to try to get up.
Well, you're a little bit better off
So-
for doing this plan, more so than me, with your 400 invite list.
But I'm not gonna ask. Like, I don't want to ask family. Like.
No, you don't see. Honestly,
gotta
we
wait,
didn't
what-
ask
We didn't ask.
anybody for anything at
Okay.
all. But Vietnamese wedding. I'm speaking on a Vietnamese wedding. Like people are pretty good in gifting you enough to help you start your life together. So I feel like just you don't lose money
I have
after a
questions.
wedding.
I have questions.
Principal issue, if they wanted to help me, they would have.
Right.
That is my principal issue. But go on, Anna.
My questions is, how much did you spend on your wedding? How much did you make back? Because all I'm not getting is your experiences in hindsight. So I want to learn, but now, okay, inflation is crazy.
Right.
Wedding gifts, people usually give 100, right? That's
200 nowadays.
it's 200 nowadays.
Yeah.
But do they know that?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope y'all do. But
150 is more on the safe
Actually,
side.
let me tell you, my wedding, I think I had 600 people, right?
okay,
300, half of, I think 2/3 probably are families. The other 1/3 are friends who are college age friends, and they don't make tons of money to give you good money. But my wedding, we pay after. I had told you I had a budget of $80,000 weddings. I think we had an extra 10 to 15,000 to start our life together. And I mean that is something that I've never had in my
Right.
life. And it's just together. I think people trust you to give you bigger gift when you are committed in a marriage, right? Because it's just like they're building a family
I
together.
will tell you right
so-
now, I have that, and I don't think I can survive off that.
Oh, you're not gonna survive. It's just a
You're
start
gonna survive.
for you. It's a start for you. From there, things are just like he said, falling into place. We found job. We work harder to build this family. You do things together and save together that just fall in place.
what if you
So,
just want to guarantee it before everything happens?
Yeah.
How long is that gonna take? What is enough? Like
I don't know. The
See?
economy is changing every day,
exactly.
but
So that's why the process is gonna
I need
continue.
30%.
I need
30% of
I need
it.
70% down. I don't know what that means. I'm just saying numbers.
Well, 30% is reasonable.
30%?
30% reasonable. If you work toward that 30% and set a
Yeah, as
You
long as
know,
no one
like-
dies before that. Yeah.
and set a time for it as well. Like in 2 years, we need to be here, and then we have a wedding. Something like that, solid like that, a plan like that, great. But just like, oh, we'll just wait until we're ready.
No,
You're never not gonna
you'll
know.
never be ready.
Yeah.
Tell your secret about we all Vietnamese, right? About Vietnamese parents. You tell them you get married, they'll come up with they'll have 20 grand stacked somewhere you don't
Yes.
even know about. I guarantee you that.
They don't tell you
They
now.
don't tell you now.
They'll tell you when you tell them
It's
you're
crazy.
getting married.
Like my mom, she's a hairstylist, right? And she only worked a few days a week. And my dad retired by the time I got married. And when I got married, she's like, "Oh, here's 20 grand." I'm like, "Why the heck did you have 20 grand?" But
Yeah.
that's how they're able to save that. That's how frugal they are, and they're able to. I guarantee your dad has 20 grand stacked somewhere.
I'm sure your
I'm pretty
parents
sure.
have it somewhere for you.
You just don't know about.
Invest it.
I
I know,
actually
then I just think
started
people,
for
they
my
invest it.
kids.
Yeah.
I actually have things stashed
Well, I'm
away
glad you're
for
putting
my
it in a
kids.
legal fund, though.
Is
Yeah.
there money? Is there interest?
Yeah, of course. But I've already when you have children, that's just the kind of thing
When?
you naturally think about is to have something for them
I
to
sure
build
hope
their
so.
future. So just don't worry. Your
I
parents got your
worry.
back.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna believe until I see it.
Or to get married and you see it.
Sounds like a risky gamble. I know.
What if we get married and then we see it? It's legal
Is it? In
in California. Yeah,
Oh.
What?
to
What?
get married, a same-sex marriage.
Since 20?
Yeah,
Really?
I don't know.
Since Obama.
Yeah.
Obama.
I thought it was just like a federal thing, but I don't know. I don't follow politics that much.
I mean, you're in California. You're the most.
You're a wedding
liberal
planner.
state.
Wait a second.
I've never done. I think I only did one
Can you?
same-sex wedding. Would you like to?
You want to see the 20 grand? Let's go see it.
Mom?
Hello.
Hello?
You're gonna be happy and you're gonna be mad.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be afraid to take that next step.
Yep.
I think you may not be ready for it, but just do it.
We're going to keep mulling over it. But anyway, before we have time for one other hot take, if anyone wants to bring anything up.
No, I'm good.
Oh, actually, go back to that original question about
What was it?
being together, even though you know there's an end date.
Oh.
Like, is that acceptable? Is that something?
To each their
Oh,
own.
you seem questioning about it.
I don't think so. I mean, like, if you're together knowing that you're not going to be with this person forever, isn't that unfair for both of you? Right? Because when you're together, the time that you spend with each other is to build a relationship that will last, right? Because if not, then you're probably not going to put in as much effort because it's ending, who cares, you know, like, I don't have to do this for this person, I don't have to do that, I don't have to make any effort. So I think it's pretty unfair and not right for both of you.
I think there is something on a bad day you could say, yeah, I wasted my youth.
Yeah,
But-
that too.
On a different level, it's also circumstances of life that led you there. Because at the same time, for the duration of your relationship, it is still a supportive relationship in whatever aspects, be it emotional, financial.
Then why did then if it's this person providing all that for you
Being
at
right
the
for your
moment?
life stage now, but not for your future goals when you're in your 30s or 40s, question mark?
How did
Period.
you know that?
You talk about it.
Yeah.
You talk about it with each other. Communicate. To each their own.
And you both agree that you're not going to be together after this date.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, there's like a transition
that-
period, probably. That's a gray area.
No, I just feel like then you just kind of like taking advantage of each other for the time that you're together.
But it's
But it's
equal
also so
because
hard
they're
to meet
taking advantage
somebody out
of each
here.
other.
You know what? It's hard to meet people these days.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Real.
That's something very, very new to me. So that's why
Yeah.
I raised the question.
It's like friends or couples with benefits, right? Like kind of like, okay, I'm with you because you provide this, that, and this for now. But then, so does that mean you love that person for now and you don't love them anymore when that day comes?
No,
Is
I think love will still be there. It's just like your love will be translated differently as time
Yeah.
moves on.
It's like
I don't know if you can translate love as time move on. When you, I feel
like
like when you love somebody, you love that person for who they are, for what they are.
but
as
perhaps
long-
understanding there's an incompatibility that you just can't reconcile. And you have to let go.
That
I feel like
Thank
that
you.
can be
Next.
in time. It can be reconciled, right? I mean, if we're talking about, I think the one
Okay, fine.
thing,
Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
rip it, kids.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've had many or a few friends.
Then we should just cut it and make it a new episode. It's 46 minutes. Just cut it and make it a new episode. Bro.
I have friends who've been together for over 10 years in marriage and agree not to have kids. But, and 10 years later, they have kids. And it's not, and they enjoying and loving every single moment of it. So it's something you think that you don't want now might not be the same 10 years from now. Right? So when you kind of like already seeing that end goal right there and seeing that it's not compatible with you, you never know. That's not going to be definite.
Better than going in, finding out, and it being a bad ending. So
Yeah.
better to not know. But the whole kiss thing, though, that's a different thing.
That's
we
a
can get
different
into
thing.
deep dive that
Definitely
another time. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, in like 5 minutes, just re-roll.
But like this person who said that they don't want kid now might change their mind in the next.
but
6
anyway,
months.
but
So
the point, the overarching point, though, was that you can be together with someone and love somebody now, and agree that you can break up at a later point in time because of an incompatibility or different wants in life.
Y'all
and
could just meet
let's
each other
just wait
again.
until then
If
that
the
day
love-
happen.
if the love is strong enough, maybe there
Yeah.
is compromise from either
Yeah.
one of them, right?
Yeah.
But if
I
not,
think
then
for me also, I think I myself would be very cautious of, especially as it pertains to kids, having to involve a third person in this uncertainty.
yeah.
That's not
Huh? That's not what?
like involving a third person. You
Like your
mean,
your child,
kid.
your child.
your child.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm thinking about a third person.
The kid.
Not acceptable.
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
yeah.
I think that variable is something that you can avoid if you're already uncertain beforehand.
True.
But yeah, you can love someone and let them go.
Bye.
But
Thank you. Next.
I don't know. I just don't think that you need to, if it's going on, and then you always leave room for changes, for growth, for the things that you don't know that's gonna happen might happen. So you don't have to like say put an end to it before it ends. You know what I mean? Like then because if you say okay, in 5 years or in 3 years we're gonna end our relationship, so during the 3 years that you're together,
make the most of it.
that's a positive thing, but you can also like, I can also be on the lookout for what's next after 3 years, like I can also not have to give like 100% because it's gonna end anyways.
That's a conversation to have.
So those are the kind of things that you don't want to be happening when you're still together.
Guess we're moving the end
Right.
up further, up sooner.
You,
That's what that means.
You can change stuff.
Oh wow.
Cool. That was a good discussion.
I still disagree. I don't think
To each their own.
that should be.
Can we like mix it up? Agree to disagree? Do
Yeah.
you say something different?
To each their own.
We can.
Each their to each own their each. Change it up for you, just for you.
Okay. All right. A little here towards the end, but that's fine. That was nice. That was pleasant. I love hearing different opinions.
I'm just trying to see how I can say to each their own reversed. Bye guys. See you guys next time.